The sky learned silence before I did, clouds folding their sorrow without sound. A gray morning stood at my window like an old memory refusing to leave. The wind carried unfinished words, letters never sent, goodbyes never spoken, hearts never repaired. Once the sun knew my name, it touched my face gently, but now even daylight hesitates as if afraid of my loneliness. Changing weather, changing heart, nothing stays where it once belonged. Even warmth forgets its promises when seasons begin to drift. Rain arrived without warning, like tears that waited years to fall, each drop writing stories only broken souls understand. I walked beneath a restless sky, searching for yesterday's laughter, but streets remembered only echoes and footsteps fading away. Autumn whispered through dying leaves, telling secrets of endings, how beauty sometimes survives only long enough to say goodbye. My shadow grew heavier at dusk, dragging regrets behind me, while the evening wrapped itself around my quiet despair. The weather changed again tonight, cold replacing gentle air, just like love turning distant without explanation. Windows trembled in the storm, as if they felt my heartbeat, fragile, uncertain, waiting for something that will not return. I asked the moon for comfort, but it hid behind wandering clouds. Perhaps even the sky grows tired of witnessing human sorrow. Memories fell like winter snow, soft yet unbearably cold, covering paths I once walked with someone who vanished. The garden forgot its colors, flowers bowed their heads low, mourning a spring that promised forever but lasted only a moment. Changing weather teaches slowly. Nothing belongs to anyone, not warmth, not love, not even hope. The night stretched endlessly, a dark ocean without shores, and I floated through silence without a guiding star. Thunder spoke louder than my voice, saying what I could never confess, that loss arrives quietly and stays forever. I held yesterday in trembling hands, but time slipped through my fingers, like rain escaping the earth after touching it briefly. Somewhere, laughter still exists, but it no longer recognizes me, as if joy moved to another season where I cannot follow. The air smelled of farewell, cold and unfamiliar, reminding me that change is often another word for pain. Even birds changed their direction, leaving skies empty and wide, just as people leave hearts once warmth begins to fade. I waited for sunlight again, counting hours like fading breaths, but dawn arrived colorless, carrying no comfort. Changing weather, changing soul, I became a stranger to myself, walking through days that felt borrowed and temporary. Rain tapped softly on the roof, a patient storyteller, repeating tales of love lost to anyone willing to listen. The wind entered my room quietly, touching old photographs, turning memories into ghosts that refused to rest. I wondered when happiness changed seasons, when smiles became distant storms, when warmth turned into winter inside my chest. Night deepened its sorrow, stars blinking like tired eyes, watching me search for meaning in a sky that offered none. Changing weather never apologizes. It simply moves forward, leaving hearts to rebuild under unfamiliar skies. And so I stand here still, between yesterday and tomorrow, waiting for a season that remembers my name again. But the wind keeps moving, the clouds keep leaving, and I remain. A silent witness to changing weather. The morning arrived wearing pale colors, as if hope itself had grown tired, and the sun rose slowly like a wounded traveler returning home. I opened the window to breathe, but the air carried forgotten voices, calling my name from distances time refused to measure. Changing weather again, warmth fading into uncertain cold, just like promises spoken softly and broken silently. The streets were wet with yesterday's rain, reflecting skies that could not decide whether to cry or heal, whether to stay or disappear. I walked without direction, guided only by memory, each step echoing questions that never found answers. Once, laughter lived in these hours, dancing freely through light, but now silence sits beside me like an uninvited companion. Clouds gathered like heavy thoughts, layer upon layer of sorrow, until even breathing felt like carrying unseen storms. The trees swayed with tired grace, their branches whispering endings, leaves surrendering quietly to the patience of gravity. Changing weather mirrors the heart. Nothing remains unchanged. Even strength weakens under endless gray skies. I remembered your voice today, soft as spring rain, yet distant now like thunder beyond mountains. Time moves forward mercilessly, dragging memories behind it, while I remain standing still inside unfinished moments. Even the birds sang differently, their melodies thinner, fragile, as if they too understood the language of loss. A cold wind crossed my path, touching my face briefly, then leaving, just like everyone else. Afternoon faded without warmth, its light dim and uncertain, like hope struggling to survive another day. Changing weather teaches patience, but patience feels heavy when the heart waits for what will never return. I sat beneath a lonely sky, counting passing clouds, each one carrying pieces of a life I once knew. The horizon looked distant tonight, blurred by mist and regret, as though tomorrow itself hesitated to arrive. Rain began again, gently, almost apologetic, washing streets but never washing memory away. I closed my eyes and listened, each drop a quiet confession, each sound reminding me how fragile happiness was. Even shadows seemed colder, stretching longer at dusk, reaching toward something lost beyond the reach of light. Changing weather never stops. It turns without warning, just as hearts change direction without farewell. Night approached slowly, wrapping the world in blue sorrow, and loneliness sat beside me like an old friend returning. Stars appeared reluctantly, faint and uncertain, as if they doubted their own ability to shine. I searched the sky for answers, but silence answered first, deep and endless like an ocean without shore. The wind carried distant thunder, echoing inside my chest, a reminder that storms sometimes live within us. Changing weather, changing dreams, I no longer recognize tomorrow. Only fragments of yesterday remain familiar. A single leaf fell near my feet, spinning slowly downward, teaching me how endings arrive with quiet grace. I picked it up carefully, feeling its fragile veins, wondering if hearts break the same gentle way. The night grew colder still, wrapping sorrow tighter, until even thoughts shivered inside my mind. And somewhere beyond the dark, another season waited, unaware of the pieces it would leave behind. So I walk forward again, through winds that do not know me, through skies that keep changing, through memories that never fade. Changing weather continues, and I continue with it. A soul learning slowly how to live with loss. Evening returned with tired footsteps, dragging shadows across empty walls, and the light faded gently like a promise losing strength. The sky turned amber for a moment, a brief kindness before darkness, reminding me how beauty survives only seconds before disappearing. Changing weather again tonight, warm winds suddenly turning cold, just like affection fading without warning or reason. I sat beside the quiet window, watching clouds drift endlessly, each one carrying a story that no one stayed to finish. The world moved outside freely, cars passing, voices rising, yet inside my chest time refused to move forward. Rain began as a whisper, soft against the glass, as though the sky feared breaking my already fragile silence. I traced old memories carefully, like touching fading scars, knowing some pain remains even after healing tries. Changing weather confuses the heart, teaching it to expect loss, to prepare for absence even during moments of warmth. The streetlights flickered awake, small suns against the dark, each glow reminding me how loneliness seeks light. I remembered laughter again, how easily it once arrived, how naturally happiness lived without asking permission. Now smiles feel distant, like songs forgotten halfway, their melodies unfinished inside restless thoughts. A cold breeze entered quietly, turning pages of an old notebook, as if searching for words I never dared to write. Changing weather changes voices too, turning certainty into doubt, turning love into silence that echoes endlessly. Night deepened its colors, painting sorrow across the sky, while stars watched patiently as I wrestled with memory. I wondered if healing exists, or if hearts simply learn how to carry broken pieces without letting them fall. Thunder rolled far away, a distant argument of clouds, mirroring storms hidden behind calm expressions. The moon appeared briefly, then vanished behind gray curtains, just like hope visiting only long enough to hurt again. Changing weather feels personal, as if the sky understands grief, as if nature itself mourns things it cannot keep. I walked outside into drizzle, letting rain touch my face, hoping it might erase the weight inside my chest. But sorrow stayed loyal, following every step, a quiet companion that refused to leave. Leaves gathered along the road, gold turning into brown, teaching how beauty transforms before disappearing completely. The night smelled of endings, cool and unfamiliar, like rooms left empty after someone moves away. Changing weather never explains, it simply changes direction, leaving hearts searching for reasons that never arrive. I listened to distant footsteps, imagining they were yours, but hope faded quickly into ordinary silence. Even dreams felt colder, their colors less alive, as if sleep itself had grown tired of comforting me. Hours passed unnoticed, melting into darkness, while thoughts circled endlessly without rest. Changing weather continues its lesson. Nothing permanent exists, not joy, not pain, not even longing. Yet longing remains somehow, stubborn as winter wind, refusing to surrender to the passing of time. Dawn waited somewhere beyond night, preparing another uncertain morning, and I waited too, a soul between seasons. Because somewhere inside change, beyond storms and silence, there must be a reason the heart keeps beating. And so I breathe again slowly, accepting skies as they come, learning to live gently under changing weather. Morning returned quietly again, without celebration or color, as if the world awakened carefully not to disturb my sorrow. A pale light crossed the floor, stretching toward forgotten corners, touching dust that remembered days filled with laughter. Changing weather greeted me softly, cool air replacing yesterday's warmth, a reminder that comfort never promises to stay. I made tea in silence, watching steam rise slowly, vanishing into nothingness like hopes I once held tightly. Outside, people hurried forward, carrying plans and destinations, while I carried memories too heavy to set down. The sky looked undecided again, half blue, half gray, mirroring a heart caught between healing and hurt. Changing weather teaches waiting, but waiting feels endless when the soul searches for something already gone. A distant dog barked repeatedly, breaking the morning calm, its lonely voice echoing through empty streets and thoughts. I remembered conversations unfinished, words paused mid-sentence, moments frozen forever by unexpected distance. The sun tried to shine stronger, but clouds interrupted gently, like doubts entering happiness just when it begins to grow. Changing weather feels like memory, unpredictable and sudden, arriving without permission and leaving without farewell. I walked through familiar paths, yet everything looked altered, as if the world moved on while I remained behind. A child laughed somewhere nearby, pure and fearless, and for a moment I envied a heart untouched by loss. Wind brushed past trees softly, their branches swaying slowly, whispering stories of endurance to anyone willing to listen. Changing weather, changing breath, even air feels different now, carrying traces of absence within every inhale. Afternoon arrived quietly, stretching shadows across roads, turning ordinary moments into reflections of solitude. I sat beneath a fading sky, watching birds return home, wondering where hearts go when they lose their direction. Clouds thickened once more, their weight visible and heavy, like emotions hidden too long behind practiced smiles. Changing weather never rests, it moves endlessly forward, while humans pause helplessly between yesterday and tomorrow. Rain followed soon after, steady and patient, washing rooftops gently but leaving sorrow untouched. I listened to its rhythm, finding strange comfort there, as if the sky understood how crying sometimes heals. The world blurred behind droplets, colors melting into gray, and I felt invisible inside the quiet storm. Changing weather carried evening again, soft darkness arriving early, wrapping the earth carefully like a blanket of reflection. Lights appeared one by one, tiny stars built by humans, each window glowing with stories unknown to me. Loneliness sat beside me again, familiar and calm, no longer shocking but deeply understood. The wind cooled further, bringing hints of coming winter, and I sensed another change approaching silently. Changing weather mirrors time, slow yet unstoppable, gentle yet merciless to those who resist. I closed my eyes briefly, listening to my heartbeat, counting proof that life continues even when joy fades. Night settled completely at last, quiet and endless, and I surrendered my thoughts to the darkness again. Because tomorrow will change again, the sky will choose new colors, and I will still be here, learning how to endure. Under changing weather, I remain a wandering soul, searching not for happiness anymore but for peace within loss. Night slowly loosened its grip, and dawn appeared like a hesitant guest, standing at the edge of darkness, unsure if it was welcome. The sky carried faint pink scars, remnants of a restless night, as though even heaven struggled to sleep without memories. Changing weather greeted the earth again, cool mist drifting through silence, touching rooftops gently like forgotten affection. I watched the horizon carefully, hoping for something new, but morning arrived familiar, quiet, distant, unchanged. Birds crossed the sky in lines, moving with purpose and certainty, while my thoughts wandered endlessly without direction or rest. The air smelled fresh yet lonely, a strange mixture of beginnings and endings, reminding me how life continues even when hearts hesitate. Changing weather speaks softly, never shouting its intentions, yet its changes reshape everything without asking permission. I walked along an empty road, hearing only my footsteps, each sound echoing questions no one remained to answer. Leaves trembled on branches above, uncertain whether to stay or fall, just like feelings suspended between hope and surrender. A passing breeze touched my face, brief and unfamiliar, leaving behind a chill that lingered longer than expected. Changing weather feels like goodbye, subtle at first, then suddenly undeniable when warmth disappears. Clouds drifted slowly overhead, carrying hidden rain, as if sorrow traveled quietly before revealing itself. I remembered smiles once shared, how easily joy filled ours, how naturally love existed before distance changed everything. Now memories arrive gently, careful not to break me further, yet every recollection opens another silent wound. Changing weather teaches acceptance, though acceptance feels heavy, like carrying winter inside a fragile heart. The afternoon sun appeared briefly, casting gold across buildings, a temporary kindness that faded too soon. Shadows lengthened again, stretching across familiar places, turning ordinary streets into landscapes of reflection. I sat on a quiet bench alone, watching strangers pass by, each face a reminder that life